Alright, let me start off this introductory course by talking about the properties of the 360. The 360 is composed of 6 colored balls and 6 colored domes on the outside. Each dome corresponds to one of the colored balls, and there are 3 spheres. The outer sphere is the one with the colored domes on it, and it's divided into 2 hemispheres. There's the Roy hemisphere, or the red, orange, yellow hemisphere, and the bug hemisphere, blue, white, green. Each hemisphere again has the domes. The domes have a hole through them, and that hole can either be blocked off or opened by a gateway controlled by one of the 2 black knobs right here. So open, gateway, closed. All the gateways open at the same time and close at the same time for each hemisphere. The middle hemisphere has an axis that goes through it, and the axis is tied to the black knobs, so that when you put the black knobs horizontal and you turn the outer hemisphere around that axis, the middle hemisphere, if you can see it, doesn't move. It stays still. But when you put it at an angle, or when you put it vertically, now I can spin that middle hemisphere around, and that becomes very important later on as far as how to solve the 360. The middle hemisphere also has a counterweight, and you can see it right there. It's that silver ball, and it also has 2 holes, which are right there. And yeah, those 2 holes, unlike these holes in the outer sphere, the middle sphere's holes are always open, and 1 hole leads to each hemisphere. So if you can see here, that is the hole for the bug hemisphere, and this hole right here is the hole for the Roy hemisphere. So I don't know if you can see that very good from that angle, but the holes are all in line there. Alright, finally there's the innermost sphere, which contains the 6 colored balls. It also has a counterweight, which you can see right there, and it has 1 hole. It also has an axis, and it's defined by those 2 clear knobs right there. And when you hold the middle sphere's axis so that it's vertical, the innermost sphere's axis is diagonal to that, or at about a 45-degree angle offset. And the point of the game is to move the 6 colored balls from the inside to their corresponding colored dome. There are 2 main ways I've seen to do this. One of them is the shaky method, where you're just going to shake the cube until a ball falls through the holes randomly, and then you kind of control it to get it into the domes. Or there's a method I'm going to teach you which uses physics and the different angles by turning either this way or that way or in between them to guide the balls from one sphere to the next without having to resort to shaking. There's a couple benefits to the method I'm going to show you. One is that it's less likely to annoy people around you. It's also a lot quicker. The shaky method took me anywhere from 20 minutes to 2 hours to solve using that way. Doing the way I'm about to show you, it's taken me anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes to solve. And I've seen a video on YouTube of a guy using the same method, and it took him, I think, under a minute. So let's go ahead and move on to step number 1. So your first goal when solving the 360 is to try to get one of the colored balls to fall through the hole of the inner sphere. This takes 2 steps. Step 1 of this is to try to make it so that that hole is no longer on the top. This is called inverting the inner sphere. And how you're going to do it, again, is by using physics. When the 360 is held so that the knobs are horizontal, the counterweights are on the bottom, and the holes of the middle and inner sphere are on the top. And if you turn it this way, the holes of the middle and inner sphere are always going to be on the top, no matter how fast you turn it. So that's not going to work. How you want to orientate it instead is so that the holes are vertically. vertical, sorry, like not the holes, the knobs, sorry. The second thing you want to make sure of when you do this is that the middle and inner sphere are not moving, and then all you're going to do is give it a little bit of torque so that that inner sphere turns around. And it doesn't have to be fast. In fact, it's almost better if you do it slow, especially when there's more balls. As you get fewer and fewer balls in the inner sphere, you might have to start doing this step a little bit faster. But for now, all I have to do is make sure it's perfectly vertical. And I'm trying to angle it so that this is you watching. And then you're just going to turn over, like so. And now you can see the whole of the innermost sphere is right there, and its counterweight is behind. The second step is to look at what hemisphere is on the bottom. And right now the Roy hemisphere is on the bottom, so you're going to want to try to guide one of the Roy colored balls into the hole. How you're going to do that is you're going to take this top knob and you're going to tip the 360 so that knob moves towards the innermost sphere's hole and try to get one of those colors in there. So I'm going to go for yellow. There's yellow. Okay, so step 2 is probably the hardest step, and that involves taking the ball from the middle sphere and having it fall through one of the middle sphere holes. What you're going to do is, just like we did before where we took the black knob and tipped it towards the hole, we're going to do that same motion again to set that ball rolling along the equator of the inner sphere. If you look on the outermost sphere, there's a seam. That's what I'm referring to as the equator. So I don't know how well it's showing up on the camera, but when you have yours in front of you, you should see there's a seam on the inner sphere. If you do that and you tip it forward, and you just tip it forward, what's going to happen is that ball is going to roll all the way around that equator, and then once the hole gets towards the top, the ball is going to drop through. You don't want that. What you want is you want the ball to start rolling, and then you want to stop it right when it's by the hole of the middle sphere that corresponds to the Roy hemisphere. So to do that, what you're going to do is tip it. The ball is going to start to move. Pretty much the minute it starts to move, you're going to bring it quickly back up to vertical again. By doing that, you're going to stop the motion of the inner sphere, and it should connect to that hole. If you do it too fast, it'll start to roll, and then it'll roll back into the horizontal position it's in right now. If you do it too fast, it's going to either keep on rolling and fall through, like I said before, or it's going to end up at the hole of the upper hemisphere. So better to do it quick and get it wrong than to do it too slow and have to start over again. So I'm going to turn it towards me when I do this step, just because otherwise I think I'll gunk up. So I'll try to torque my body so you can see. So you're just going to go like so. And now you can see the third step is done, and I have the ball at the hole of the middle sphere. So the next step is to get it to fall through to the outer sphere. Before you do that, you're going to want to turn it, or play around with the knobs at the bottom here, and see that if you turn these knobs clockwise, they open. If you turn them counterclockwise, they close. So only one of these gateways leads to each one. The one that leads to the yellow is the one right here. So before we have that ball fall through, let's get it by that yellow gateway. There we go. But now all you're going to do is, again, you're going to take the black knob at the top, and you're going to point it towards the hole you want the ball to fall through. Like so. And now it's at the outermost sphere. Now what you're going to do is you're going to turn until the ball, and you can't see it because of the angle, is by the gateway right there. So now it's lined up with the gateway. Now again, you're going to take the black knob and turn it towards the hole you want the ball to fall through, and then you're going to spin the gateway until the ball falls through. And there you go. That's one ball in. Those are the steps. No shaky involved, like I said. And if you do it that way, at first it'll probably take you about a minute to 2 minutes to get each ball into its corresponding dome, and with a little bit of practice, you can do it even faster.